Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business. Looking forward to talking to David Carpenter. David, it's great to connect with you. You're the CEO of Gamiotics. It's a live entertainment software company that enables real-time communication between audience and content and is powering the next generation of immersive and experiential entertainment. Think community. Those of you who listen know I'm a business coach. I work with successful people who are stuck. I get them unstuck. What I love about this podcast is we're always sharing content to get you unstuck. And today we're going to talk a lot about, experiential entertainment and grabbing people's attention. And David, I'm looking forward to talking with you about all of this. What is, define the ideal experiential experience.
So, I mean, it's a tricky one, right? Because experiential was built to encompass a lot of things that are generally not considered like a play or a musical, right? I mean, that's where experiential really started coming from, where you have this idea of immersive or interactive entertainment that breaks down the fourth wall and allows the audience to become or participate in the action of what's happening around you. So if you think about, a lot of the entertainment that we consume is passive entertainment, movies, television, anything that you sit and the content is fed to you. Over the last, 20 years, entertainment, especially the new entertainment, has started shifting into this idea of experiential, which is active entertainment. And so audiences now tend to want to go and have an experience as opposed to watching something. So, part of what all live entertainment tries to do now is get people off their couch, like to get them away from watching Netflix and staying at home and go and have an experience. And consumers are following that trend.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Audience to participate. If we go back many, many years, and we think about let's make a deal, right? Sure. Or the Price is Right, right? That was incorporating the element of surprise and experience and all of that. And so as people look at their business, where are the different elements of experiential, especially when you're dealing with e-commerce?
Well, when you look at something like an amusement park, like Disney, right? I mean, you mentioned game shows, being coming up in the 60s and 70s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. I mean, Walt Disney took that idea and saying, I'm going to create the Magic Kingdom, which is experiential entertainment. Amusement parks were the first drivers of that. So when you're looking at it from a business standpoint, what experiential allows for is many different types of revenue opportunities within the environment that you've created. And that's actually really key. So traditional passive entertainment, for the most part, relies simply on the price of admission, the ticket sale. And if you look at, at any type of theatrical entertainment in the world, that's basically where you're getting. Merch sales tend to be a small part of that. But when you look at, and I said Disney being the biggest example, right? Universal Studios, same thing. When you look at that at scale, what you're seeing is at every point of interaction within the parks becomes a place to be able to sell something to the consumer. And you're providing many, many, many opportunities to be able to sell. And Disney takes it to a huge degree.
Yeah.
We see that even on smaller scales experientially. You look at things like Meow Wolf, which is one of the leaders in a smaller scale type of experiential entertainment. The retail store is huge. Yeah. Coming out of it. So and it goes back to, if you look at the museum category, it's the exit through gift shop idea that I've created this experience for you to walk through. And then before you leave, don't you want to buy something, take something home that was part of that experience?
Yeah.
The museums are experiential entertainment in a certain, look through a certain light.
Yeah. So you've got quite an interesting, 20-some year experience in the entertainment industry, Tony nominated producer, very active in the Broadway, off Broadway world. And so, I always love to. So did you take that and create this? What came first?
So I've always been a very avid gamer, and I was my whole life ever since when I was a kid. And when I graduated from school, I wanted to work on Broadway. That was my goal. And I did. And I moved pretty quickly. I moved into New York, and within 2 years, I was working on Broadway and started my theatrical career. And I always, during that time, I was a gamer on the side, video games, board games, whatever I get a hand on, but it was always a hobby. And there was a moment about 6 years ago where I saw this opportunity, and it was part of this rise of experiential entertainment, where I could take my passions in gaming and my knowledge of gaming into a entertainment realm, into a live entertainment realm. And that's really what the basis of what Gamiotics is that it's bringing this idea, bringing this platform to be able to build interactive experiences in a way that passive entertainment just simply doesn't do.
Yeah.
So, and Broadway was great and I had a good time, but then, I did it for 20 years and I found something that was going to be way more interesting for me for the next 20 years.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. So now someone who's sitting here listening and thinking, okay, I've got kind of a professional service company that maybe requires us to be face to face with people or via Zoom or Teams. How do I, create an experiential experience for them and all the, the nuances of, of the continuum? Like, where does it make the biggest impact?
Well, what Gamiotics is diving into is the concept of gamification of experience or gamification of entertainment. I heard this on another podcast. I can't remember which one, but everywhere in our lives right now, we're finding that brands are gamifying their interaction with their customers. Like I wear an Apple Watch and I have my exercise rings that effectively gamifies my exercise. Like I have a goal, I have something I need to do. And so part of that and this is something that I'm a firm believer in coming out of the entertainment industry is engagement and creating experiences or creating opportunity for whoever's on the other end of the conversation to keep and to stay engaged, to stay interested, and to stay active in that conversation. So we saw a lot of this happen during the pandemic where what we now call Zoom fatigue, right? Where you're just so tired of listening to someone over Zoom. And that was actually where Gamiotics really started to gain a foothold and traction, is that we created an interactive conversation originally with the way we first started doing it over Zoom between consumers, and we entertained them as well. And what we saw was our engagement rates were insanely high. Yeah. And at the heart of that was about making the conversation fun and making the conversation challenging and making conversation something that people work toward to stay engaged in, as opposed to having that wash over you. So that's a big part of what I'm after.
Now that as you're talking about this, it would have been smart if Zoom, some years ago started rewarding you for the minutes used on Zoom. And then, for every, 100 minutes, you got 100 points, and then, et cetera.
Yeah. I mean, gamification is new into where we're going right now. And I think that what I'm excited for on this journey is finding how people can incorporate that into their business and revenue models. Like I am an entertainer, like I work in entertainment. So it's way easier for me to start from this angle because, I'm providing entertainment.
Yeah. Well, it seems like also, community is a strong foundation. And then this is kind of like another layer to add on to community, which is kind of create the gaming environment and then invite your friends, refer people. I mean, there's so many tentacles of all of this.
Yeah, 100%. And what we're doing at Gamiotics is that we've created a platform that is easy for, because we're a B2B company. It's easy for the business to be able to use and engage in, but it's also disposable for the consumer, which is really important these days when we're talking about privacy, but we're also talking about consumer adoption. And Gamiotics, it's web-based, you QR code in, and then you've established this two-way communication between the content and between the consumer. And then when the consumer leaves, the website goes away. And so it's not something that they have to download on their phone. And that was also something that we learned pre-pandemic, is that there's a lot of resistance to app downloads unless it's a really necessary tool. And so certainly within the entertainment, what we're after, and I think a lot of people are now starting to realize this within mobile web, is creating applications that the consumers do not have to download because they trust it more.
Yeah, I love it. So who's your ideal client?
So right now, I have an ideal client right now. I built, along with some partners, I'm going to answer this question in two ways. A gaming experience called the 20-Sided Tavern, which is a live action Dungeons and Dragons style gaming experience where the audience is using Gamiotics to participate and make choices all throughout the course of it. We just came from the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, And it was a huge smash hit there. I'm going to be in Chicago with it this fall. We already announced it on sale with Broadway in Chicago. And so I have this experiential entertainment experience that's being powered by Gamiotics. So I got my live theatrical category covered with this partnership that I'm in and building this thing. The thing that I'm actually after next is museums, because what we're really after is going to the museum space and showing them that instead of a linear audio guided tour, which are fine, and there's nothing wrong with a linear audio guided tour, we can actually introduce dynamic entertainment and dynamic agency for their consumers to use Gamiotics. And instead of going on a linear journey, they go on an adventure of their own choosing that allows them to explore or do things and have experiences that are unique every single time they come back and do it. And it's not something that the technology with the audio tour can do, but it's what we can do with Gamiotics. And that's something that's really interesting to me, because it's not only create something different within a space that I love, but it's also, there's a lot you can do. We could turn the whole museum into its own escape room. And I think that's a really cool idea to be able to engage the next generation of consumers.
Oh, I love that. Well, I love what you're doing. It's, it's a way that people need to be thinking about their business and how they can, create the experience for people that just takes it to another level. I think we're always trying to figure out how to be memorable and keep people's attention. And this is definitely a way. Quick speed round for you, David.
Sure.
A book that's had the biggest impact for you.
Oh gosh. That's a really tough. I'm an avid reader, so I hate that question. I would say honestly, for my sci-fi fantasy, it's George R. R. Martin's books. No. I got a better one. Sorry. Adrian Tchaikovsky's Children of Time made me not afraid of spiders. It actually had a really big impact on me. It was
which one? What is that?
Adrian Tchaikovsky, who is the grandson of Tchaikovsky, wrote this amazing sci-fi book called The Children of Time. I can't give it away, and anyone who ever read it will say, "Oh, I can't tell you about it." But the result of it is it literally made me not afraid of spiders. It was
okay.
So right. I highly recommend that book.
All right, I know some people who are scared of spiders, so I'll recommend it to them. And the last question I have for you is somebody who is complacent and has a very static business and relationship with their clients. What's the very first step to create an experiential experience with their clients?
It's about, it's what you said earlier, it's about conversation and community. It's about engaging in conversation and allowing the client to make choices and have agency in that conversation that take them down a pathway. Now you can design that pathway, but if you turn the tables and allow the client to start making choices within that conversation, you're able to create something more experiential and more dynamic with them. And it's about trust, and it's certainly about establishing trust, but it's a really cool way to re-engage your customers, and it's simply through conversation.
Yeah, I love it. Think community, we talked about, listening for one thing that could maybe get you unstuck, and David shared a lot of things. One thing I'll extract from our conversation is you need to participate with your clients. It is a two-way conversation. It is a dialogue, not a monologue. And you gotta excite people and give them a reason to remember you and keep on coming back. And the more, an experience has a very long shelf life. So I was gonna
say the last thing I want to add is, like, if you read about the history of Salesforce, that's one of the very first things that they did is they threw parties for their customers so they could get them in a room and talk to them. And it was amazing marketing technique that they did, because they learned so much at these events that they would throw with their early customers that helped them to continue to develop the software platform. So there's like as many personal interactions as you can make with the customers. It teaches you more about how your software is working or how it should work. Yeah,
I love it. So Think Community, if David can help you, please reach out to him. David, where can they connect with you?
Yeah, Gamiotics.com is my website. And we're doing a software release at the end of this month. So just stay tuned. A lot of overhaul and changes coming to it right now.
I love it. Think community. Think about how you can create an experiential experience for your clients. If David can help you, please reach out to him. If I can help you in any of my coaching programs, please check out jondwoskin.com. David, it was a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.